In this lesson, we're going to work on dividing fractions with whole numbers. Let's go through the steps for the standard algorithm and then do some examples. The first step when dividing fractions or multiplying fractions is to always make sure they're written in A over B form. Since we're going to be working with whole numbers, we have to remember that when you have a whole number, for example, 5 written in A over B form is 5 over 1. The second step has two parts to it, because what we're going to do is we're going to change our division problem to a multiplication problem. We do that doing two things. The first thing you're going to do is change it to multiplication. And after you change it to multiplication, you are going to take the reciprocal of the number you're dividing by. So you need to remember, if you're dividing by a whole number, like 5, you originally write it as 5 over 1, and then the reciprocal would be 1 over 5. After you've changed it successfully to a multiplication problem, now you're going to simplify your expression both vertically and diagonally. You will notice it doesn't talk about simplifying until step 3. You can only simplify in multiplication of fractions. You can't simplify a division problem until it's changed to multiplication. After that, our last step is to multiply across. Remember to always make sure that your answer is completely simplified at the end. If it's improper, you need to change it to a mixed number and check to see if there's any factors you can divide out. All right, let's start with an example. We will do 1/3 divided by 4. So the first number never changes. So we have to make sure that we're keeping it as 1/3. Step 1 says to put in A over B form. So I'm going to take that 4 and I'm going to write it as 4 over 1 so that I have two expressions that are in A over B form. I know that my very first number stays the same. So I am going to keep 1/3, 1/3. Step 2 says to change to multiplication, so the division becomes a multiplication symbol. And then to take the reciprocal of the number you're dividing by. We were dividing by 4 over 1, so the reciprocal will be 1 over 4. We check our diagonals. I see nothing in 3 and 1, nothing in 1 and 4, nothing in 1 and 3, nothing in 1 and 4. So there was no simplifying. So at this point, we're going to multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 4 is 12. So 1/3 divided by 4 is 1/12. So if you take 1/3 of something and divide it into 4 equal pieces, each piece will be 1/12 of the whole. Let's look at example 2. We're going to take 4 divided by 1/3. Now remember, we start by putting it in A over B form. So I'm going to take that 4 and write it as 4 over 1. When I change this problem for step 2, the first number always stays the same, 4 over 1. You change it to multiplication, and the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3 over 1. I check for simplifying. Nothing on the diagonal, nothing on the diagonal, nothing vertically, nothing vertically. So I am going to just multiply across. 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 1 is 1. 12 over 1 equals 12. So if you take 4 and divide it into 1/3 pieces, you will have 12 pieces. Okay, let's do another example. If we're looking at example 3, let's do 4/10 divided by 8. When I look at this expression, I know that I need to write first in A over B form. So I have 4/10 divided by 8 over 1. Some people would be tempted to simplify the 10 and the 8 right here. Remember, you cannot simplify when you're in division. So we have to change the problem first before we do that. So 4/10 will stay 4/10. Division becomes multiplication, and 8/1 is 1/8. I do that division. I see now that I can not simplify 10 and 1, but I can simplify 4 and 8. I know that 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 two times. I check vertically, 4 and 10 do not simplify, and 1 and 2 do not simplify. So I can multiply across. I have 1 times 1 equals 1, and 10 times 2 equals 20. So my answer is 1/20. If I take 4/10 and divide it into 8 equal pieces, each piece will be 1/20 of the whole. The last example is a story problem. You bought 15 grams of chocolate to share with your classmates. If you give 3/5 grams of chocolate to your classmates, how many will get some chocolate? Okay, so what we have to do is we have to decide if it's going to be 15 divided by 3/5. Are we taking 15 grams of chocolate and finding out how many 3/5 grams pieces fit into it? Or is it 3/5 divided by 15? Are we taking 3/5 grams and dividing that into 15 equal pieces? Take a second to think about that. Okay, so we have in total 15 grams. We want to see how many 3/5 pieces will fit in 15 grams. Those are the number of people that you can give chocolate to. We're going to start by putting it in A over B form. So it's going to become 15/1 divided by 3/5. And then we're going to change it to a multiplication problem. 15/1 times 5/3. Do not be tempted to simplify up in the division part of the problem. You have to wait until you change it to multiplication. Now let's see if we can simplify. I have 1 and 5, nothing there. 3 and 15, I can simplify. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 15 5 times. I check my verticals, 5 and 1 and 5 and 1. Can't do anything there. So I'm going to do 5 times 5, which is 25, and 1 times 1, which is 1. 25/1 equals 25. So when you write your sentence, you are going to state that 25 students, classmates you could say, will get 3/5 grams of chocolate. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to end up doing a worksheet, both sides, and you are going to do some IXL to practice as well. Good luck. Ask questions if you have them.